Allie, where do you go? We're live, y'all. Oh, shenanigans. That's how you
What's up,
answer the
everybody?
phone.
What's up? It's the pros in the house. You know what I mean? It's your boy Ali with the newest track. About to break it down. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
What's
oh,
up? Talk
geez.
to me.
We said we were going to go live. We launched iam.media.
Let's talk about it.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Yeah. I am that media. What? Let
iam.media.
me showcase that.
Let me showcase that too.
What's up? It's your boy Ali. I'm in a goofy mood right now. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
When are you not in a goofy mood?
Well, I'm in an extra goofy mood. You know?
Okay.
It's like.
So we talked about iam.media, and I just put that on the screen. And I don't know, remember we were figuring out like why we wanted to do it, and we were kind of tired of memberships and all types of communities and stuff that they're not adding any value, right? It's not tangible. We're on, calls or whatever the case may be, and nobody's producing. So we were talking about like no gatekeeping, essentially. That's kind of where we're. Oh, and then our other pet peeve, where everybody thinks that they're a company and they're a business, and the transition between all that. So there were so many different topics, but we always want to give massive value. So here we are, essentially.
Well, the first and foremost, the market changed. The way things are done are not anymore. People are aware of AI, which makes the traditional coach extremely irrelevant unless you have like real deliverables and a real factor of, tangible items that is going to truly impact my business. 99% of coaches, trainers, they focus on mindset, which is important. Don't get me wrong, it's important. But YouTube provides mindset training. Like I can get a 5 days worth of ET the hip hop preacher on YouTube for free. I can get Bob Proctor for free. I can get anybody really for free. Even the coaches that are charging to end up dumping their content on free form content platforms, which makes it very, very hard. Not hard, but it just makes it a challenge for somebody to truly deliver. When it comes to coaching, and everybody thinks if I have a phone, a microphone, and a small audience or a Zoom, I'm a coach now, right? But it takes a lot more than that. So what we focus on is to create real deliverables, and we understand that. The last couple of years have been nuts, right? You had the pandemic that brutalized everybody's business. Then you had inflation that just completely made it 10 times worse. And then you have what's going on right now with tariffs and lack of, clarity and security for a lot of people, right? So it becomes a real challenge, a real issue. Not everybody's willing to put up money out of their pocket. So we created the iam.media for products and services that are as little as $1.30 a day to allow you to get exactly what you need without breaking the bank. We even have offers where you can have access to us via Voxer. And I'm talking about all day, every day. You can ask us questions. Hey, how do I find, where do I do, what kind of service, what kind of app, what kind of funding, what kind of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that we can truly help you out as well. But we've done that specifically because we are tired of the shenanigans. We are tired of, hustling for value or, just putting ourselves in positions where, I get the compliment I hate the most. I can't believe I have access to you. Imagine that. I can't believe I have access to you. So it tells me that there is value, and it tells me that people are feeling like they're getting away with murder, but we want to give the value, we want to give the service. So today we thought like, hey, let's just hop on live and give some value, give some information, some knowledge, if you will. We recorded our podcast yesterday, Tanya and I, and there was one element, about, I forgot what the question that you asked, but we started breaking down what it takes to make $1 million and how it can be done if done the right way, right? Like, how do you get lost in multiple hats and whatnot? And that was a little bit of an example how you and I operate. I can tell you first, you got to have it in here. If your vision is not a right side, then you got to read the right book, and you got to wake up every single day and meditate, and thoughts become things. Yeah, I get all that. That's cute. Don't get me wrong. It's important. Mindset, energy is important, but that's not what's going to make you $1 million. It's the work and the organizational work and the day-to-day grit and consistency with specific elements, and assuming all of your stars are perfectly aligned in every single hat that is required to have in every business, from operations to marketing to sales to business development to technology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If they're all aligned, then you'll make your first $1 million. Meaning, it's not easy. It's hard. It's hard. But being broke is just as hard. Being in the mundane or the routine that you hate is just as hard. So what we are not being taught is what is the deliverable, or what is the day-to-day effective daily method of operation that I gotta live within. And I believe that this woman that you are watching alongside me, Tanya, is the most gifted person that creates systems and bless me and my wife with the ability to kind of collaborate and do exactly just that. So, Tanya, what's it take to make $1 million? Can't hear you. You're muted.
I said Pinky in the Brain taking over the entire world. Well, I do. Thank you so much. Yeah, inside joke. But I will say this, just to encourage all of you guys before we go into all that, to encourage you guys and understand that if you're working on mindset and all of that, that is great. But most of the mindset courses, things like that, they actually don't have activations with it. They don't have the practical applications that go along with the mindset, right? You're going to, with your mindset, naturally, when you change certain things, you're going to attract certain things and opportunities. But if you don't understand what to do when they're there, or how to leverage or connect or anything, that becomes the struggle. So I know that some people heard what you were saying and were like, wait a minute, what? But I wanted to make sure we validated and that mindset, while it's important, what is missing is the practical application. I've gotten individuals that came from, individuals well known, let's just say, from all over and certified and everything. But when they came to me, within an hour, they had went through an entire certification program and never knew what they knew by the time that they were done. And you've had that too, right?
Oh, many times over. I've seen people that have gone through 90-day challenges, like from the greatest and the best supposedly, and then, in the 90-day challenge, I'll get a text, hey man, do you think you can help me with? I'm like, you just went through 90 days worth of training on every area of business. Like what happened was they were receiving the 5,000 foot view. Like, what's it take to write a book? Well, you got to start with the synopsis. You got to do a little bit of research and development. You got to. But nobody actually told you the practical way of doing it. How much time? Where do you do the research? How do you break it down? Knowing that you are to reread and rewrite your book a couple of times in a row. That's why some of the greatest of authors, it took 2 to 3 years to write the best phenomenal groups that we have. What we're taught is, I saw a thumbnail somebody's promoted how to write a book under 1 hour. How to write a bestseller under 1 hour. Like, all right, cool. Where's the detail? Because truly, I think I really consider myself, I'd like to think I'm smart enough to write books, and I've written a couple. But to write a bestseller under 1 hour, like my first book that I wrote that we sold 46,000 copies, I thought that I was a genius, and I wrote it in 7 hours, right? I mean, I couldn't sleep, and I could just write it overnight. But then it took 6 to 7 months worth of refining and rewriting, refining and rewriting, refining and rewriting. And then when we released it, I thought it was the dumbest thing that I had ever done. It was bad. It was terrible, though we made the sales. Rewrote it 2 years later with double the content, and we did 100,000 downloads. Now that's like, all right, that's a little bit better, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is that there is so much more to whatever we are being marketed to. And that's my beef with everybody, really. And you see it in everything. I mean, you go like the T-Mobile, right? 4 lines for $25 a line. Why am I paying $180 every month? Why? Because I wasn't told that there's the taxes and all these other services. And by the way, that $25 just minimum of 2 GB of internet. So once you go 1 week, it's gonna drop the quality of your internet to like nothing, and you're like, wait, everything is slow. But if you upgrade, sir, oh, okay, so $25 is a terrible experience. You didn't say that. You gotta tell me that if you want a terrible experience, it's $25 a month. But if you really want the stuff that you need, Ali Madawi, to be able to work the way that you work, you need to pay $180. Just you alone, Ali Madawi, is an additional $115 per month. So those are the pieces that are missing from our fellow mentors, coaches, trainers, and marketers of everything. And last but not least, everybody thinks just because they got ChatGPT and YouTube, they can build a business. I use it like clockwork. I gave my ChatGPT an identity. Tanya and he don't get along really well. His name is Marvis. He gets, shout out to Marvis, my boy. Marvis and I work together, but you need human intelligence with artificial intelligence in order to bridge them both together. One cannot replace the other. I don't care how good your AI prompts are, you still need the human touch. You still need to refine it in a way that will be read. Because guess what, buddy? You and I, and Tanya, you know what I'm talking about. We know when it's a ChatGPT content. Like we can tell. I know from the emojis and the asterisks that you forget to delete. Like, bro, I know that it's ChatGPT. Hey, I just created a synopsis of our next offer. No, you didn't. You just went to ChatGPT and said, hey, I need an offer of selling this product. Can you create a synopsis? And it creates it for you. But you were so lazy that you didn't even change the format of it. At least put a little bit of work. So don't get me wrong, amazing. I use them. But let's get rid of the hype and otherwise the numbers are not going to change. And what I mean by that, there's less than 5% who make $50,000 a year in business. And then there's the 1% who actually make 100, 200, 300,000 plus, and very small, minute percentage makes the 7 figures. So let's do your part, because you're hurting people. And I've made those mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging you. I've made those very same mistakes. I followed the wrong mentors. I bought the wrong programs. I bought into the hype marketing early in 2017, where I said everything everybody else said. But then when I realized the damage, I pulled back. Tanya?
Yeah. Yes, I do agree. I think it's because we are really stuck on, I like to say, that Babylonian way, where it's like this supply and demand. We're ran by people. We're ran by fear-based tactics and marketing. The God way, the kingdom way, the biblical way is value-based, right? And so I notice a lot of individuals will gatekeep. So that way I'll give you just enough, but the how and everything else, I'm going to have you go ahead and pay for that, because they're in fear and it's manipulation. I think that's why. So what happens is it's taught. That's what's taught constantly, right? So with IM, we decided not to gatekeep, not to hold anything back, but to actually break everything down. And you and I break down things in numbers. Whenever we look at anything, I think we built a company in 3 days. It was like, boom, this is what it is. The one thing that you and I do frequently is we take action immediately. Messy action, it doesn't matter. We just make sure we follow through and we put it up. We'll perfect it along the way. And we looked at our COGS. Like, you'll always, well, what are the COGS? I know that I tell you that too. I'm like, well, hold on. What are the numbers? What are we looking at? What is it? What is the projection? Like, what is it going to cost us? Where, where do we have to look at retention, or what does it look like if, we have to pay out individuals for as an affiliate or ambassador or account execs. So I think when we were on the podcast, you broke down kind of how we look at numbers. And I had talked about this a little bit briefly in our masterclass was it on Tuesday as well, where we were talking about networking and things like that, but income producing activities. How most individuals don't understand income producing activities. They try to run, say that they're a company or a business or however, but they're operating as an administrator. They're actually not thinking C-level. They're not thinking I'm running a company, I'm putting SOPs, standard operating procedures, and things like that. So I think you wanted to break that down, right? You wanted to break down, okay, if we have our numbers, what does an income producing activity look like on a regular basis? I don't know. Can we move that up a bit, bro?
Move it up.
I think they just need to see see if they can actually see the screen. Oh, we should have put our extra phone up there and
I got extra you, view. Look at that. Can you see this?
There you go. Now we got it. Okay, cool.
Did you read that?
Hi.
All right, cool. I'm gonna give it a little more.
Right, so what we're gonna show you here is helping you understand, and actually we'll put this in the I am. So if you go in I am, let me actually put it here. If you go to this site right now and get inside, I think it's like $37 a month, super simple. We're going to put this replay because we're going to take it down. Okay. We're going to give the replay, and then we will also put a spreadsheet, all that good stuff. So that way you guys have some resources on what it looks like. How to reverse engineer your numbers. That's what we're about to show you now. You go ahead, bro.
Here I
just
go.
like coming in that way.
All right, so I got you close to the screen just so you can see. Next time, I'll make sure that I'm actually logged in from the screen itself so we can share this screen directly. So yeah. Okay, so to make $1 million a year, and Tanya, if you have a cell phone, help me out with quick math in here. But the very first thing is that I tell everybody, you need the final destination, which is $1 million. All right, cool. And then we want to reverse engineer it. So what does that mean? So I'm going to take that 1 mil that we just talked about, and I want to divide it by 12 months. So 12 months, it's going to be somewhere around $86,000.
$83,333.
So let's just call it 84K.
Yep.
Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Can you see that okay? All right, good.
Yes.
So 84K, right? Now, I want to take that 84K and divide it by 4 weeks. What does that give you?
21,000.
21,000. Now, based on if you're working 5 days or 6 days a week, you want to divide, let's just call it 5 days a week. What does that give you?
4,200.
4,200 per day. All right, now I want to take this 4,200 and decide how many hours am I willing to dedicate income producing activity. Let's call it 8 hours. What is that going to give you?
525.
525. All right, cool. So we did all that to figure out that we need to make $525 per hour, 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So we got to figure out either the profit margin of a product that we have right now needs to yield to $525 and make sure that we have so much volume of it or lead generated in order to make sure that I am averaging 1 sale per hour that is yielding $525, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 52 weeks a year. Doing that is going to give me the $1 million. Now,
well, hold on.
It sounds a lot simpler.
Before you go there, because I think there's a delay. Before you go there, let's break down profit margin. Because a lot of people, when they do their products, what they do is they find out, oh, what's the industry? Okay, $10,000 program, but they have absolutely no idea how to look at profit margin. What are the COGS, right? What are the cost of services and goods and all of that? And what that even looks like. So can we break that down for them really quickly? So when you say, because I know where you're going next, you're going to go how many people you have to talk to, blah, 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 blah. Let's break that down.
You know me well, sister. You know me well.
We do this all the time.
Cost of goods and services. So this right here is why many companies end up getting blindsided and they realize we just worked so hard to not have any money,
Mhm.
right? So you need to figure out there's two elements of cost. There is fixed and then there is variable. So your fixed is what is the same every single month, right? It could be your rent, it could be your Zoom, your Calendly, it could be your MailChimp, it could be anything that is a subscription that you know for a fact I have these repeated costs, that is a fixed cost. Variable, maybe ads, maybe payroll, maybe all these different elements that come along with it, right? So you have fixed and you have variable. You have to do an inventory and really, really go from top to bottom on everything that you have from both so you can identify how much money am I going to be putting out every single month and how much potential more, right? So let's just make up that number in here and say that, I have $1,000 every single month worth of fixed costs, and then there is a potential 200 to $300 of variable, right? Because it is variable. So that comes all together. That's $1,300, right? So I know every single month that I have $1,300. Now, if you really, really, really want to get specific, you can actually use specific softwares, specific systems that you can take that dollar amount and embed it in a specific Excel spreadsheet format, and it'll break it down to you what is the cost from here per each actual item, right? Like it'll tell you out of this product, you're spending $2 on, rent. You're spending $1 on this. You're spending $1 on that. But this is very, very starting point, and I'm no CFO. That's the one piece that I've never done. Everything else I've done in the past. So these costs themselves have to be so crystal clear, right? Now, this is the 5,000 foot view. This is for the business, the company, the product, right? Now, from a product perspective, you have to identify. Let me give you an example, right? Let's say you have a coaching course. In a coaching course, let's say I'm selling the course for, let's say I'm selling it for $300, right? So how much did I pay my virtual assistant per hour to get the course all organized, intro, outro, and edit for me? How much did I pay the virtual assistant to promote it on social media? How much did I pay on Kajabi or School or whatever platform that I'm housing my course in? Like all those different things have to be listed. And you have to figure out, okay, so I'm spending, just like we did for the business, I'm spending, let's call it $100 per each individual course. That's my hard cost of goods and services. That means my profit margin is $200. That's my take home. That's what, like, bills are paid, $200 is mine, right? Now, if you were aiming for $1 million, and we were talking about that number and figure that we were talking about earlier, which was what? $525 per hour, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? 52 weeks. Doing that, my friend, you are so short. Matter of fact, you're short $325 every single hour. You're not making $1 million. So you have two options. Either I got to figure out how to lower my cost of goods and services or increase my price point. Now, well, what would I increase my price point? Everybody around me is spending the same exact money. Everybody around, wrong thinking. Increase your value. Become better. Learn more. Get more certified. Figure out how much more value you can add. What are the sweat equity items that you can add just until you build a little bit of momentum? Who can you collaborate with? What services that are out there, including the Calendly and videos and the Canva that has an affiliate model? One thing that I love, even the platforms and software that we use anytime Tanya, our CTO, goes like, hey, there's this software that I know for a fact is going to make us feel better on many areas and it costs us less. I'm like, that's great. And she'll be like, hold on, let me get my affiliate link. So she can lower some operating costs somewhere for her for using that very thing. That's smart business. Like, get your ego out of the way. It's time for you to think like a CEO and every single dollar count. So doing that is going to allow us to have a profitable year. If you don't do what I'm telling you, by the way, now you know why building a business is very, very hard. Is because people don't even take the time to do this. They just create a course. I think I'm gonna sell it for $97, and not realizing I'm spending $100 every single day on all the other elements, and now I'm not making any money.
I like to
Does
say
that make
that,
sense?
yeah, absolutely. And I love the breakdown. And I like to say that it's strategic, right? We want to
Yeah.
have in our mindset that building a business, there's strategy. You are good at what you do. I know you are. You're phenomenal at what you do. We meet people that there's a couple times that we're just like, why aren't these people all over the world? Like, oh my goodness, they're amazing. But that doesn't mean you know business, right? Like even those that work at home, you're like, well, I can't contract this or do this, or I can't use my office space because I'm not a brick and mortar, right? A physical location. And I'm like, no, you can actually take the square footage of your entire home, right, and divide it. But you can also, like, as far as what your office space is, right, and then you're dividing it, your rent by that office space. So okay, now if it's $2,000, then you have 1,000 square feet. You divide it. Now you got $2 per square feet. Now okay, my office space is 500 square feet. So now you're going to multiply that. So now you have what your numbers. Put that into your products. Like, these are things that we don't look at it. They're like, well, I don't write off my lights. I don't write off my cell phone. There's so many aspects that would actually help you. And this is where you need to sit down with accountants and lawyers and all of that to make
And
sure.
if I may add, yeah, if I may add, and even if when you figure all that, always leave a 25% buffer in the bank, because you're going to deal with chargebacks.
Always.
Because you're going to deal with unexpected issues. You're going to deal with legal stuff sometimes. You're going to deal with upgrades. So always leave 25% just sitting in the bank, just in case, and again, that 25% leaves a nice cash flow. That you need cash flow. If you don't have cash flow, you're not gonna make it too far. Like, you may be so good to finagle it and figure it out, and God only knows Sanya and I are the king and queen of figuring it out, right? But at the same exact time, as soon as you can put yourself in a position to be cash flow positive, meaning I just have a little bit extra money sitting in there, it's good. And then don't touch it for 90 days. That's why companies do quarterly reviews. And at the end of the quarter, they say, okay, CEO, you created a surplus of $250,000. Here's 5% bonus from that $250,000. And, everybody gets a little extra bonus. If there is no surplus cash flow, well, nobody gets a bonus. So there's vested interest. Again, I'm not a CPA, or I am not a CFO by any means. I'm just telling you some of the practices that I've done over the years. And definitely have as a local CPA that is physically available to you, because this guy dealt with the last 2 years of IRS because I trusted a good buddy of mine that was just a nobody CPA and became big time because of me. But he never grew in his knowledge and always operated like the guy who was in his house instead of upgrading us and him. So do the right thing for yourself. Okay. What else we got numbers wise? What were we going to hit on?
The other aspect, a lot of people have questions on this, is when they pay them, they have their program, and they don't even think to themselves, oh, by the way, I'm going to pay myself because I have bills to pay and blah, blah, blah. But they never even think, okay, they have business bills, and to keep that 25, they don't know the difference between the gross and the net. Are they paying themselves off the gross, or are they going to pay themselves off the net, make sure everything is done? Yeah. And now they're good. And now they come in.
Yeah.
And how much do they pay themselves, right? And I know, like, in our companies, we designate the 25% to make sure that is always allocated there. But again, they don't know their numbers. And so what they're doing is, I got $1,000 for a program. And then they take the money out. So they're using it. They don't have a business account. they're not having simple accounting software that they could just say, here are my numbers. I just want to share it with you. So let's talk really quickly, because that's not a long conversation when it comes down to the numbers of understanding
Look,
your net and your growth, but people don't know.
You as a business owner are to get paid from your net. Net is after all the bills are paid.
Yes.
Including my whole staff. So everybody gets paid, and whatever the leftover, that's what I'm gonna get paid from, right? That's the way it's supposed to be. And preferably, if you can allocate a specific percentage out of net to salaries, everything else is just operating cash flow. As much as you can be operating cash flow. Now, don't get me wrong. I know times are tough. Heck, I got my booty kicking over the last couple of kicked over the last couple of years. Like we've gone through incredible transformation, right? So I understand and I empathize. I understand sometimes it's like, bro, like I'm 3 months behind in everything. I need every dime that I can get out of here. I get that. Fine. You got to do what you got to do. But as soon as you got a little breather and you can put yourself in the right position, start operating on net, not on gross, because gross empties the bank. And again, tomorrow you get a phone call. Hey, you're do this or you do that. Like we were just sitting and having our working session earlier, and you're like, whoa, you're super focused. I'm like, I just got a letter from our lawyer. The IRS needs all these brand new things. Like, okay, well, that comes with another bill. So if I am operating on take whatever is in the bank, I got a problem, right? So Tanya, I got a problem.
You said Tanya what?
I got a problem. No, we good. I'm joking. The point that I'm trying to make is make sure, again, please. Oh, man, I always wanted to say this. If you are in a network marketing or the side gig economy and you have a traditional job, don't quit it. Don't quit your job. Like,
isn't that funny?
Like the idea of
quit. Go ahead and share why. Go ahead.
Everybody's like, I fired my boss. A job is just over broke. It's job. Look, man, I know some people are not built for the 9-to-5 lifestyle. I know I'm not. Like I've gone broke repeatedly so many times, and I could have gotten a job. I'm like, I can't do it because I know my personality. I am going to slave myself and make that boss life so much easier, and it's not fair to me. I've done it. I worked in Ruby Tuesday back in the day. I used to go at literally 6 o'clock in the morning. I clock in. I don't clock out till 1 o'clock in the morning. Every single day.
Goodness.
Every single day. That's what I did. My boss would come in. My boss would come into a restaurant at 11 o'clock and then leave by 7:30. Talk about cozy life, because I'm like, the entrepreneur in me, I got to have everything perfect. Our numbers were number one across the district every time, right? So I know I am not built for that environment because I'll be taken advantage of. I am a softie. I am a sissy. I say yes to everyone all the time. Okay, there, I said it. It's true. I got Tanya and my wife always yelling at me like, dude, stop. My wife is always like, you're saying yes to everything the person is asking you. Just stop. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. The point that I'm trying to make is if you have a traditional job, keep it. If your side hustle is making you a lot of money, cool. Keep your side hustle, add to that bank account. Use that money to start a traditional business or invest in real estate. And that's where I'm standing. It's traditional business. And then you can live life on your own terms. All right, I'm done about that rant. Stop making fun of people with a job, especially those of us who are in MLM. Do you know one thing about job? For those of you who say it means just over broke, that just over broke person gets a guaranteed check every single Friday. You know what you don't get every Friday, you dear network marketer? A check. You don't get it. The facts are less than 5% make $50,000 a year, less than 1% make $100,000 plus, less than 0.02% make $1 million. Now, I'm not saying MLM is bad because real estate and insurance have the same exact numbers. Financial sector has the same numbers. I'm just saying, stop making fun of people who are making an honorable living. Mind your business. You know, Cinderella didn't make fun of the sisters. She just went out and got dressed well and showed up to the party. Show up to the party and be your best version. All right, I'm leaving. I'm done. See you later.
You feel better? You feel better? The whole mic drop just happened. I feel like, yeah. We need that. You know, I do have to say, yes. There's been individuals that had this stress about, they didn't feel like they were successful until they moved out of their job. And I'd be mentoring them, and I say, no, don't leave your job. Use it so that way all the money you make in your business, start investing it, do other things, get a team that you can pay, do all that stuff, because you don't need to take anything out. So you're good. And then establish something viable, then decide what you want to do. I've known people who were like maybe 2 or 3 years off of retirement. And I'm like, why would you quit? Just push through the 2 or 3 years and you'll be free in 3 years, but you're going to have an extra stream of income. The Bible, Ecclesiastes 11,
because we were put into guilty. We were driven into guilt to think you're disgusting. You're in a just over broke place. That's what it was. I quit way too early. And look, I'm grateful to God that when I quit my job, I quit into traditional business. I didn't quit into the MLM side of things. Like I quit into taxi businesses. I quit into, a deli. I quit into a gas station. Yes. A brown person from a third world country comes to America, you got to go through the taxi, the gas station, and the deli. Thank you, come back again. I did all those stereotypical things, but it taught me the fundamentals of building a business versus, well, I'm an entrepreneur because I'm marketing a product. No, you're a marketer. You're not an entrepreneur. Going back to how this whole thing started, there's a difference between a business owner and what claims to be an entrepreneur. It's two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Two different things. So if we're going to wrap up what that looks like, business owner, company, hobby, and looking at the numbers and everything that we spoke about, what can we resource them with or help them so that way they can do on their own at home, whatever that looks like?
Well, first and foremost, make sure you go to iam.media. Under member, iam.media, that is iam.media, and definitely do the $37 a month. Look, I might hurt your feeling, but if you can't afford $37 a month, you shouldn't be in business. And I'm not taking a dig. Like I would much rather you drive Uber and Lyft and make some extra money before and after you go into your job or whatever the case may be, and spend $37, because everything that I'm doing with you right now will be housed in iam.media plus a whole lot more. Like we're about to add so much more into the platform that I genuinely believe that you're going to have everything that you need for as little as $1.30 a day. You heard that right, $1.30 a day. You're spending more than that right now on whatever you're drinking in your hand. On that bottle of water costs more than $1.30 a day. So we definitely put something together so that the everyday average individual that may be struggling to consider it. And then once you're in there, you may consider some other options. We have other options like the accelerated growth and one-on-one mentorship program. That's what gives you the Voxer. Well, you can just click and talk to me whenever you want, talk to Tanya whenever you want, and we can help you on a day-to-day basis. And then there's so more options. But go to iam.media, definitely take advantage. And then there are exclusive podcasts in there. There's a merch store in there. There's just so much stuff that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, I love it. I think right now, where we are in the industry, the one-on-one coaching or the group coaching has died down. If we're looking at numbers, right? People are not
involved.
Yeah, they're not getting what they need. They're not. They're paying $10,000-$20,000, and they're struggling. They're like thinking this is my last hope, so I'm just going to put this in here, and I'm going to get this massive result quickly. And so you might look at it and be like 37, like what in the world? But there's everything written out for you. There's systems. You could take this right now and do all your numbers. We just did numbers for you if you have a goal of 1 million, if your mind can handle that. But it's really about taking the action. And that's what our heart is here. So hopefully we'll see you guys in there. And we did say we're just going to keep on going live. I know we have an Alignable group where we're doing trainings and networking there.
We should put all those links in the comments for everybody to just be able to click on, go wherever is appropriate for them. And for those who may be ready for the scale inside of things. Like if you are already revenue generating, but you kind of plateaued, or you don't feel like you have the credibility to take to the next level, well, you need to talk to us about our branded packages. See, what we do is we create a full campaign all about you. We'll interview you like the rock star that you are, and we can do it virtually, or you can definitely come on your own expenses to the studios if you like, but virtual is plenty enough. And then we interview you as the authority expert in your own subject matter about your product, your service. We get the past, we get the current, we get your future. We create your own commercials if you don't have them, and we plug them in the commercial break. Once the episode is done, it goes to Spotify, iHeartRadio, it goes to Audible.com, it goes to Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. And once that's done, we generate reels out of it. So we share it in our own social media platforms, giving you a little boost. Telling the world, like, wow, look at what Tanya just shared with us. Oh my God, how amazing is this? Here's the secret to success, and so on and so forth, to get you a little bit of clout from our audience. And last but not least, we top it up with a press release that goes to Fox, ABC, CBS, the CW, NBC, and all of their subsidiaries. We just had a client today that got published, and she got picked up by 316, my favorite number, 316, 316 channels that picked up her story. So if you Google her name right now, the first 10 pages, it's article after article after article after article. And then, of course, we're going to give her a list of all those links so she can add them right into her website. You think about documentation and authority. If I Google you, what would I find today? So if you're ready for that, we can obviously talk about that as well. And we do have financing options on everything that we offer. So no man or woman is left behind.
Yeah, I like that, because a lot of times you're told to post a bunch of free content, make an offer, and then do a bunch of ads. But what's interesting is they have no presence whatsoever. None. And then the content that they give, they're told, don't show them anything, just kind of share with them. So even the content that they're doing for free is not even bringing results. That's actually going to separate your brand. And so when people look you up. But then the second thing is, when you are giving any kind of content, give them something of value that they can take, use, and get a result from in any way, shape possible within their business. And that's what makes people want to follow you, because they know that you're not wasting their time. I think with the COVID thing, we're so used to being on Zooms all the time. Everything is about, let me sit on a Zoom. I think we had calls like that where they're just like, oh, you know what? I do 9 hours of Zooms a day. Why? Why? There's nowhere in the world I'm doing 8 hours of Zooms a day. You could barely get into my schedule anymore, let alone, that. But that's why we decided to do the Voxer part. So that way, between 9 to 5, whenever we have that moment, we're able to just go in and answer whatever questions, flow with you, and you're not stuck on having to wait a whole week to get on a Zoom to get an answer. Yeah. And it's like, what do you call it? Your strategic partner right in your pocket.
100%.
I love it. Right. Well, we're going to get off of the live for today. Are you done? I'm done.
I'm done. Leave me alone. Go home. Stop looking at how sexy I am. Go work. Okay, go do some work.
He is so crazy. Bye, y'all.